The sterile white corridors of Research Station Kepler 9 hummed with the quiet efficiency of advanced technology, but Dr. Elias Ford barely noticed anymore. His attention was consumed by the creature in the observation room, the one the galaxy had written off as nothing more than a failed experiment. The one he had risked everything to save. Rivera sat cross-legged on the padded floor, her lupine ears twitching at every sound. Silver fur covered her lean frame, and her amber eyes held a peculiar mixture of ancient intelligence and childlike wonder. When she caught sight of Elias through the transparent barrier, her entire demeanor transformed. Her tail began wagging with such enthusiasm that her whole body swayed, and she pressed both clawed hands against the glass, a high-pitched whine of excitement escaping her throat. "Easy, Rivera," Elias said softly, entering through the airlock. The moment the door hissed open, she bounded toward him with the uncoordinated joy of a puppy despite being nearly 6 feet tall. She collided with him at full speed, wrapping her arms around his waist and burying her face in his chest. Her tail continued its frantic wagging, sweeping medical equipment off a nearby table. Elias, you came back." Her voice carried that peculiar accent of her people, the Vorkani, but the words themselves were simple, childlike. "I thought you wouldn't come. I thought you left like before. Like the bad place." Elias felt his heart constrict. 3 months ago, he'd found her in an illegal genetics facility on the Outer Rim, chained and tortured by researchers who saw her species as nothing more than test subjects. The Vorkani were rare, their homeworld destroyed in a corporate mining disaster decades ago. Rivera had been captured as a juvenile and had spent 15 years in captivity. 15 years of experiments designed to weaponize her species' natural predatory abilities. What those monsters hadn't anticipated was that their torture would shatter her mind, regressing her to a psychological state that mirrored early childhood. The fierce warrior species, known throughout the galaxy for their tactical brilliance and strength, had been reduced to this trembling, dependent creature who saw Elias as her entire world. "I'll always come back," Elias promised, gently stroking the fur between her ears. She made a rumbling sound deep in her chest, somewhere between a purr and a growl of contentment. "I brought you something." Rivera's eyes went wide and she released him to sit back on her haunches, tail still sweeping the floor. "Present?" For Rivera, he pulled a small data pad from his pocket, one loaded with children's stories from Earth. Over the past weeks, he'd discovered she loved stories, especially ones with heroes who saved people. He suspected some part of her broken psyche was trying to process her own trauma through these simple narratives. "New stories," he confirmed, handing it to her. She clutched it to her chest with both hands, her expression pure joy. "Will you read to me?" she asked, her voice small and hopeful. "Please?" Rivera tries, but the words are hard. Elias settled onto the floor beside her and she immediately curled against him, her head resting on his shoulder. As he began to read, she listened with rapt attention, occasionally interrupting with questions that revealed the fractured brilliance still lurking beneath her damaged psyche. "Why does the knight save the princess?" she asked during one story. "In the bad place, no one saved anyone. Everyone hurt everyone." Elias paused, choosing his words carefully. "Because humans believe that protecting others, especially those who can't protect themselves, is the most important thing we can do. It's what makes us who we are." Rivera was quiet for a long moment, processing this. Then she looked up at him with those luminous amber eyes. "You're my knight," she said simply. "You saved Rivera from the bad place." "I suppose I am," Elias replied, throat tight with emotion. The moment was interrupted by the arrival of Dr. Chen, Elias's colleague and the station's chief psychologist. Rivera's reaction was immediate and dramatic. She pressed herself against Elias, a low growl rumbling from her chest, her ears flat against her skull. To anyone else on the station, she showed either fear or aggression. Only with Elias did she feel safe enough to be vulnerable. "It's all right," Elias soothed. "Dr. Chen is a friend, remember? She brings you the sweet protein bars you like." At the mention of the treats, Rivera's aggression faded slightly, replaced by cautious curiosity. Dr. Chen, wise to Rivera's behavior patterns, held out one of the bars at arm's length. Rivera crept forward on all fours, snatched it, and immediately retreated to Elias's side, where she devoured it with messy enthusiasm. "Her attachment to you is intensifying," Dr. Chen observed quietly. "The trauma bonding is complete. You're essentially her entire support system. Elias nodded grimly. He knew this was both beautiful and terrible. Beautiful because Rivera finally had someone she could trust after years of torment. Terrible because he was only human and humans were fragile, mortal creatures. What would happen to her if something happened to him? I've been reviewing the neural scans, Dr. Chen continued. There's something remarkable here, Elias. Her brain is actually rebuilding itself, forming new pathways around the damaged areas. It's like watching accelerated childhood development, but in an adult brain. I've never seen anything like it. So there's hope? Elias asked. She could recover? Perhaps. But she needs stability, safety, and most importantly, she needs you. However long this process takes, you're the anchor that allows her mind to heal. Rivera had finished her treat and was now playing with Elias's fingers, examining them with fascinated attention as if seeing them for the first time. Elias has tiny claws, she murmured. Not sharp like Rivera's. How does Elias protect himself? Humans protect themselves differently, he explained. We use our minds, our tools, and we protect each other. She considered this, then held up her own clawed hand next to his. Rivera will protect Elias, she declared with sudden fierce determination. With big claws and strong teeth, no one hurts Elias. It was a glimpse of the warrior she'd once been, or perhaps could be again someday. But for now, the moment passed quickly, and she was back to her childlike self, asking him to read another story. As Elias resumed reading, with Rivera curled contentedly against him, he made a silent promise. He would be her anchor, her protector, her constant in this uncertain universe. Humanity had failed her species once, had stood by while her world burned and her people were scattered to the winds. But he would not fail her. Whatever it took, however long it took, he would help this extraordinary creature find her way back from the darkness. Because that's what humans did. They saved those who couldn't save themselves. Even if the galaxy saw her as broken, Elias saw her as she truly was, a survivor, rebuilding herself one story, one moment of trust, one day at a time, and he would be there for every single one.